So thanks to everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Kim, and I am from Cheshire, Connecticut. That's a little over an hour from here. I always ask, does anybody know where it is? You do. So you've been there before? Oh yeah? It's just amazing. I had someone say the other day, my son lives on the street over from you. Do you know my cousin? Which I did know them. So it is a really small world. And I have been teaching art for a little over 20 years in Connecticut and throughout the Wallingford school system enrichment programs. And I also taught through my library when my children were little. I did a lot of craft and art programs, and then for the toddlers, and then I decided to start a commercial chocolate business with my sister about 10 years ago. And so I converted part of my home to a commercial space, and I have all my big tempering machines in there, and we really didn't know that much about what we were doing. Shocking, right? So, but I really wanted to get into it because I thought, wow, some of these chocolate molds are beautiful, they're very artistic. So while I was working at the library, I just went on and on about, oh, this is so interesting, I learned this today, and my librarian is like, would you just put a program together already, and present. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, traveling around Massachusetts and Connecticut, presenting programs on things that I'm passionate about, especially my chocolate programs. I do tea and chocolate pairings, wine and chocolate pairings, aromatherapy, and superfoods. Those are some of my favorites. So tonight we have superfoods. We're going to be exploring a little bit about what can help us be more healthful, and just expose you maybe to things that you haven't tried before, and maybe terminology you haven't heard of before, to maybe help improve your diet if you like. And we all could have room for improvement, I'm sure. But first I want to just let you know that we're going to be sampling foods tonight. So in my workshop, my commercial space, I make a lot of these products. So I do use nuts, and there are nuts involved. So if you have a nut allergy, you have to abstain, okay, just for allergy purposes. The cacao balls that we're going to be trying later are a substitute when you really crave like a sugary chocolate. So I'll tell you what's in there. The recipe is right here. They're very simple to make, and I think they're really tasty. They have dates in them, cacao powder, Himalayan pink salt, raw pumpkin seeds, which is important, coconut oil, and organic almond butter. So these are all things that are really helpful. And if you can get used to tasting things without being the foods being overrun with sugar, it's so much better for you. So we'll be sampling the cacao balls. We're going to be sampling at the end. We have a pomegranate herbal green tea, and I always bring something that's like a spritzer. So we'll make it a light spritzer, a way to include healthful tea into your diet, because that's very, very healthy. Tea is loaded with catechins and antioxidants. It being, they're all phytochemicals, plant compounds from the earth, and very healthy for you. So we'll talk a little bit about some healthy teas, and we're going to discuss about cacao. You've probably heard a lot about that recently. Very dark chocolate being really helpful for you, so we'll go over that. We'll be sampling some very dark chocolate, 85% cacao. So that's, if it's 85% cacao, that means it's only 15% sugar. So that's bitter. But I have done lots of research for you people, and if you combine it with wine, red wine, that does the trick. I never used to like very bitter chocolate, but because there is sugar present in even dry Merlot, Cabernet, it actually counteracts the bitterness of the chocolate, so you have that nice melding. It's a really nice pairing. And then we're going to be sampling some dried natural coconut, very healthy for you. You can add it to your diet. It has the MCT oil you've probably heard about. They're medium chain triglycerides, but aside from that, very healthy for you, for your diet, and no sugar. Some of the coconut you can find that's dried is coated with sugar, which of course makes it tastier, but we don't need that extra sugar. We're gonna try a little bit of these dark chocolate goji berries, if you've ever had goji berries before. We have dark chocolate versus a regular dried goji berry. They're super healthful, they're supposed to be great for your skin, high in vitamin C. I particularly don't think they're so great. I think raisins have a nicer flavor, but they're very healthful for you. So you'll see if you want to incorporate these into your oatmeal or your baking, anything you can, enhance your food, it's a good thing. Then we'll go over some of the superfoods that we have, and we're going to start with a smoothie too. So I always get an acai juice, Sambazan. Have you ever heard of that? Has anyone used that? So some Costco's sell it around, but in California, both my daughters are from California, they sell everything with acai in it. And so I'll show you what it looks like just in case you're interested. This is the company that's well known, Sambazan, and it's acai, that's how you pronounce. And it's extremely healthful, loaded with vitamin C. It's supposed to be a long-lived berry and very healthful for you. So that's going to be our smoothie that we're going to try. So the smoothie has, berries in it. And if you're into it, you can add kale. You really need a good blender, though, or else you'll be drinking chunks. Ask me how I know. So got to get that strong Vitamix. But today we don't have any spinach in our smoothie. We have the acai berry and some fresh fruit, and then I always put cacao powder in it. So natural cocoa powder. So that's going to help. Natural cocoa powder is an appetite suppressant, and it's very healthful as well. So I always add a little bit of that. So we're going to start with that, and while you're sipping on that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of chocolate. We'll just work our way down, and feel free to ask questions, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you, okay? Okay, so what do you think of the acai berry?
It's an antioxidant, right?
Yes, it's loaded with antioxidants, extremely high in vitamin C. It's a rainforest superfood. What do you think?
Delicious.
It's very strong, but delicious. Now this is, some Costco's, like I say, sell it, but they actually sell it in frozen pouches, which is great. If you can't consume that juice all in one fell swoop, they have the frozen pouches. So let me start by telling you a little bit about cacao. Since we added cacao or cocoa powder into our drink, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I think it's interesting about the history of cocoa and chocolate. So of course, chocolate's an $83 billion industry, and it grows in the tropical rainforest, and everything is manually harvested with machetes. This is what it looks like growing on the bark of the tree. They're called kibosses, and they're very hard, and they're about the size of a football. And then after they're big. And then after they take them off the tree, then they sort of look like a pumpkin, where you have your pulp inside. And you know how hard that is to get the seeds, pumpkin seeds out of pulp? That's a hard, laborious process. So they had to figure out, how are we going to get these seeds out of the cocoa bean, the pod? How are we going to get the beans out of the pod? So they had to devise like a sieve out in the rainforest in the heat, and basically they split the pod open, which would look like this without the pulp, and then they turn it over, and the pulp breaks down in the heat, biodegrades, and then all the goop goes through the sieve, and now you have what this looks like, sort of a cross-section of the pod. And so there are 45 to 60 beans in one of these pods, and you need 10 of these, or 600 beans, to make 1 pound of processed chocolate, times $83 billion industry. So pass that around and look at it if you'd like. Take a look at that. So after they take the pulp out, then they clean and roast the beans, okay? They roast it, they winnow them. So basically you're cleaning a cob of corn, taking all the silk off, all the debris. Then you have roasted cacao bean, which is nibs. So oopsie daisy, don't look there. Who's had nibs? Okay, so the roasted nibs are considered one of the most nutrient superfoods on the planet. There is a dietitian, his name is David Wolf, and he actually goes by the name of David Avocado Wolf. Enough said, right? I think he lives in California right now. And he has written several books. One of the books I read was called Naked Chocolate. And it was tremendous because he went to the rainforest and figured out what did the indigenous peoples know that now we know that the roasted nib is so healthful. So cacao is loaded again with antioxidants. It's good for inflammation for your joints. Dark chocolate, 70% and up, is very healthful for you. It's good for your arteries. It's good for brain cognition. It lowers your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, and the list goes on and on. So, I'm going to get you a new spoon. And we're going to pass these around and see what you think, okay? They are not sugar coated, so they smell great. They smell like chocolate, but don't be fooled.
Just like
Bitter.
vanilla.
So, but this is something, if you can include this into your diet as well, baking with it, adding it to smoothies or oatmeal, this is tremendous for you.
How much?
Just a tablespoon, you don't even need that much. Let me tell you that when the Aztecs first started eating this roasted bean, it helped them stave off infection. It helped the warriors go on long trips, keeping the nibs in their pouch, fighting fatigue because it provides energy. Also, dark chocolate is linked to, it's high in serotonin and magnesium. So it actually does regulate your mood, magnesium does. So magnesium equals serotonin. So to keep your mood level, just tell someone, I need to eat my chocolate. I need to keep my mood level, right?
Anything below 85% is not that good?
No, 70 and up. 70 and up. So I'm gonna pass this around, let you pass it around. Take a little bit in your hand. It's very crunchy and it smells good and it is bitter. But the Aztecs drank, for instance, Montezuma, the leader of the Aztecs, he drank up to 50, of course it's reported that he drank up to 50 cups of cacahuete a day. And the cacahuete was the roasted nibs in hot water. So it was helpful for them because the antioxidants were in there and they were getting all the health benefits as well. Of course, it was served to him in gold chalices by women in his harem, so that probably made it taste better. I bet. I don't know, I'm just guessing. But anyway, okay, so that's a little bit about how chocolate is processed. So once you have these nibs, if you don't consume the nibs, then you're gonna crush them and you're gonna get a paste, a chocolate liqueur paste, and that's what chocolate is made from. And then they squeeze most of the cocoa butter out to form the powder, the cacao powder or the cocoa powder. And the Dutch processed cocoa, if you're a baker, you know what that is. The Dutch process is adding alkalinity or alkaline salts to it. So now you can actually find cocoa that has no alkalinity in it, or no alkaline salts, no chemically processed cocoa. So you can find 100% organic cocoa to cook with if you'd like too. So what do you think of those nibs?
They're a little bitter.
They're a little bitter. They're a little bitter. Yes.
Tastes good when you put
Buy
them in.
nibs,
Yes.
can you grind them or it would turn into a paste?
Yeah, it would turn into a paste. You could grind it, sure. Sure. You can probably use a little coffee grinder.
Turn it into coffee or.
Yeah, you can try that.
Like you said,
They grind it with, you know, they used to grind it with grist mills to make it into a paste. So that's a little bit about cocoa and how cocoa is very healthful. And since you have that taste in your mouth, we're gonna follow up. Because then we'll clean it out later. We're gonna follow up with our bittersweet, okay? So bittersweet chocolate, 85% cacao. And so years ago in the 1700s, people were consuming 7 to 7.5 pounds of sugar a year. So that's really not much, right? But now, what do you think we consume? What do you
Did you
think?
say 7 pounds?
Excuse me. What do you think we consume now?
We consume that in a month.
65.
I
don't know.
It's over 100. It's 150 pounds of sugar a year per person. So sugar is acidic to the body. Sugar is not good for the body. So our trans fats, they're not good. Rancid oils. So those are oils such as a lot of the vegetable oils are machine processed. They're not great for you. The best oils you could use are extra virgin olive oil, cold pressed almond oils, avocado oils, fresh pressed, grapeseed fresh pressed. But the other oils are not so great for you. Canola's not so great. It's industrialized oils. And you know, years ago when my daughters were little, it was like, use canola oil, it's great. But we didn't know. But now we know. Now we know. So this chocolate has just the natural cacao. You could see the difference. Now if I had other chocolates, sugary chocolates, which, oh, don't look so sad. No sugary chocolates. No. Just the healthful ones. This smells so strong of cocoa, but it only has 15% sugar. So see what you think of this. So who eats these dark chocolates? Normally, you do. Do you combine it with anything, or you just eat it straight? That's great. That's great. Now this is a true story. In one of my chocolate programs, I had a 95-year-old Irish woman come to the program, and I always ask, who eats, you know, anything higher than 85% on a regular basis? And she raised her hand and she said, I have 90% chocolate every day, a nice square of 90% chocolate. I said, that's awesome. She goes, it gives me energy, I feel good, and I look forward to it every morning. And I said, oh, do you pair it with like a Dublin tea? And she said, no, I wash it down with a shot of Jameson. And I'm good to go for the day. That is a true story.
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. Right?
We was with 5 minutes a day.
Hi. What is she, in her 90s?
Yeah, she's like 90.
She's 90. So, okay, so I'm going to go through a little bit of what we have here on display. Okay, first of all, let's talk about something called G-bombs. Okay, have you heard of Dr. Furman at all? Yeah. So you've heard of G-bombs, right? Yeah. Okay, see? So G-bombs, this is his little acronym for the things that you should incorporate, which he feels are the superfoods in your diet. So first, you can remember it like this, G and B, green and bean. So greens, kale, spinach, any cruciferous vegetables, okay? Dandelion greens, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, arugula is cruciferous. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And, by the way, I didn't realize this either, but when my daughter came home from California, she was saying, Mom, you know, I'm like, oh, that arugula, it just upsets my stomach a little bit because it's a little bitter. She's like, well, cook it. And I'm thinking, that's like lettuce. But she said, no, cook it, and with some garlic, it's delicious. It takes like the bitterness out, it's delicious. It's almost like broccoli rabe. So that is a really great way to have it as a side dish with your meal. It's excellent. So you have greens and beans. What's the next thing? Yes?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I quizzed you. I put you right on the spot. That's all right, I'll do it again later. All right. Onions.
Oh, yes.
So onions, shallots, anything that's in the allium family. Onions, excellent. And Dr. Furman believes that he's been on CPTV, he's written New York Times bestsellers. He's pretty amazing. He believes that you should incorporate these foods like every day, somehow into your diet. And these are all cancer preventers and very good for your just beneficial health. M. I'm sorry you answered. Mushrooms, that's right. Mushrooms, this is very interesting. You don't like mushrooms? Okay, but listen to this now. This is important. Mushrooms, I always thought, okay, years ago, I thought, oh, they're watery, what are they? They're just fungus, you know.
Yeah.
They are a superfood beyond belief. And he's saying even white button mushrooms are okay to add, not the weird shiitake and maitake and the reishi mushroom. He's saying all mushrooms to include in your diet. And this is very interesting. 1/3 of a cup, they did a study, I think I have it written here, it's a Harvard study, I think. 1/3 of a cup a day for women, and it has been proven to help with breast cancer prevention. So just from mushrooms, so that they really believe that that's you know, a superfood. And then B for berries, we already had our dose, right? We had the double dose of acai and blueberry, and then we had cacao in there too. So I always add cocoa powder to everything. It's very good for you, it's satiating. Slim Fast has cocoa powder in it. So if you want to curb your appetite healthfully, it keeps you satiated. So that's the berries, and the last thing, most importantly, seeds. So here we have our little chart here for seeds. Small but mighty seeds. So this one has sunflower, okay? Vitamin E, it's high in magnesium, builds your strong bones. So if you're worried about osteoporosis, start adding sunflowers. This is important too. When we buy our sunflower seeds, these seeds should be raw, okay? Because if you buy them, let's say at CVS, which is okay, they are roasted in vegetable oil. Well, that's not good. You know, you don't want that type of fat on your nut or your seed. So, and sunflower seeds help with migraines and fatigue and soreness. So all these, because of the natural oils in the seed, they're good for your joints. I mean, the benefits are plentiful. Then hemp seed, who's had that before? Okay, we have samples of hemp seed over here. I'm not gonna pass that out because they're really small, but when you come up later, I'd like you to try those. They're very nutty and delicious. I add those to my cereal every day. I really like the flavor. Do you like the flavor of
Yeah,
that?
I like to add them to those smoothies.
Oh, smooth, yeah, they get
Protein.
pulverized, they're so small. That's right, it is a complete protein. So let's say you want to get away from eating maybe as much meat as you have been consuming. You can add the hemp seeds, and that is going to take place of some of your protein. It has all the essential fatty acids in there, and it's high in B, D, and E. So you can read this later, but pumpkin seeds, which we have in our cacao balls that we're gonna have. Again, raw pumpkin seeds, okay? High in protein, magnesium, pumpkin seeds are loaded with zinc, okay? Very good for your bones, protects against.
If you roast them yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
You
it's
can
okay.
do it, yeah. Or if you use oil that you know is healthful, so an avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, cold press oils, first pressing, you know, the least adulterated oils, you know, that they're not processed. Flax oil, Dr. Furman, flaxseed, excuse me, but he believes in the oil, so you can even crush the seeds and get the oil from the crushed seeds as well. Great for your bones. And they have the lignans in them, flax seeds do, and so it's very good for breast cancer prevention. Lignans are, so flaxseed, as women, we should be eating flaxseed. Chia seeds, who's had those? Okay, those are great to add, right, to your cereal, to smoothies, to anything. Who has made the chia pudding? Do you like it?
Yeah, the coconut milk?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
delicious, right? So some people don't like the texture, but
I love
I do too. That's just another way to incorporate chia seeds. Those were considered an Aztec superfood. Calcium, high in calcium, phosphorus, good for your bone health, and high in protein as well. So it's a protein source. And then sesame. Sesame seeds are very helpful, especially black sesame seeds. They're very good for your body, for your calcium, your bones, and zinc as well. So you can come up and read these later. So just sprinkling, you know, seeds on your food, you're getting the oils, the natural oils, and it's extremely helpful. I have a good friend that is affected by RA, rheumatoid arthritis, and he's been including seeds into his diet, anything that has natural oils. And of course, turmeric and curcumin, Those are anti-inflammatory as well. So that's a little bit about seeds. And you can come up and look at these too. We have the chia seeds, and I have what it is known for. Now this is very interesting, chia seeds, and this is what they look like. They have 8 times, it's gram for gram. Okay, so 8 times the amount of omega-3s in salmon, 6 times the calcium in milk, so high in calcium, more iron than spinach per gram, and more magnesium than broccoli in here. And then of course the chocolate, is high in magnesium. That's very important for women, because I know when I went to my doctor, she was like, when you're going through menopause, your hormones are out of whack and you feel depressed, you need to make sure your magnesium levels are correct. And then the hemp seeds, like I said, are down here, so you can check that out. This is the golden flax, so you can even grind these in your little food press or your bean processor, and you can grind those in. But it's better to buy things that are whole and grind them yourself rather than buy ground flaxseed, because it's already been adulterated, so you're getting it in the whole form. It's better to buy it in the whole form. Red lentils, very excellent form of protein, so that would be one of the legumes that you want to include. A superfood is our legumes. And if anyone studies Ayurveda, I don't know, has anyone studied that? The Indian practice of just healthful eating, and they really believe in mung dal lentil. My friend follows and practices Ayurveda, and she swears that in India, when you're not feeling well and to keep your body clean and free of toxins, they eat mung dal and basmati rice, and it cleans out your body, of course, the fiber, and it's very healthful. Here's a book on cacao as well. You can look at these books later. This is very interesting because now there are books, it's not a book on chocolate, it's a book on how to incorporate cacao or cocoa powder or ground nibs into savory foods too, which is very interesting. And if you follow Mexican cooking, right, the moles or the sauces that are made with Mexican chocolate, but very little sugar, so they've been using those sort of recipes that were handed down from the Aztecs, when the Aztecs used just the roasted bean. So very helpful for you. This is the Latin name, Theobroma cacao, for the roasted bean, and that means food of the gods, but actually it means Theo for God and broma for drink. So that's what the Aztecs were drinking, right? The drink of the gods, really.
Now, is baking cocoa powder?
Yes, cocoa powder, but that would have you have to make sure it doesn't have, the alkalinity or the alkaline salt, so the Dutch processed cocoa. So now you can go into the health food section of Stop and Shop, and you can find, pure cocoa powder, and then include that into your diet as well. This is a very interesting book, The Earth Diet by Liana Werner Gray. It tells all about her sort of journey from being sick and how she healed herself with natural foods. And there are so many books out there like that. But it is an amazing thing because the Earth's bounty is here to help us heal. We hear of so many people that were sick or on a lot of medication, and they healed themselves with natural foods. So, if you're having issues, you can, check it out and see what you think. Of course, anything that is bright in color, right? Remember, our mothers would say, eat your orange carrots, they're good for your eyes. And it's true, carotenoids are good for vision. Beta carotene is one of the carotenoids. It's a phytochemical, phyto for plant. So anything that is bright in color, beets, right? The different bright colors of carrots, tomatoes, super high in lycopene, and lycopene is very
the tomato
healing.
or just the seeds?
No, the tomato. The
Tomato itself?
Mm-hmm. And they've done studies, I have who did the study there, but it's amazing for prostate cancer, men. Cooked tomatoes, just a small amount every day of cooked tomatoes is healing. So they're really very, the foods are very strong in helping us to stave off infection. So this says lycopene giving color, beta carotene giving color, and they're both very good, but especially beta carotene is very good for vision health as well. Who's had spirulina? Anybody? So you add it into, okay, there are a lot of these different places popping up that there are smoothie bars and healthful bars. There's a place in Wallingford, Connecticut that has all different types of adaptogens, which we'll talk about in a minute, that they can add to your smoothie to give it a boost, let's say, you know. And spirulina is a blue-green algae. And the Aztecs, this is amazing, the Aztecs used to skim this algae off the lake and then dry it and eat it. So it's like a seaweed, and it's extremely helpful. It's this and chlorella is an algae, and you can buy that in any vitamin section of the store. But you can add, this is a powdered spirulina, and I actually saw this the other day at Marshall's. Can you believe that?
Yeah, Home Goods is a good place.
I mean,
to go.
imagine that, right? You can find anything there. So this says, and you can come up and read these things if you know you're being inundated with a lot of info, but blue-green algae, high in protein, of course, very high in B6 and iron, and it was used as a nutritive food source by the Aztecs. And also the Vikings used to skim the lake when let's say the food sources were lean, they would store it. They'd feed it to the cattle, but sometimes food sources were lean and they'd eat it. And I mean, it's amazing how it kept infection away. Raw honey, you probably know about. Raw honey better than pasteurized honey. But of course, if you have any allergies to bees or anaphylaxis, you shouldn't fool with this because it could trigger an allergic reaction. But raw honey, of course, being the least processed. In Ayurvedic medicine, they don't even like you to really have this in the summer months, but like in the winter as a healing food. So, you know, you research it and see, you know, if you feel that you don't have any issues with bees, but you have to research it. Yes?
You say that it's good for allergies.
Right, and if you're in an area, I hate to keep referencing my kids, but it's what I know. So they both moved to different parts of California, and they never had allergies in Connecticut. And then they were inundated with allergies because they were in a new area. All the different plants and, you know, flowers were just irritating them. So I said, go to the farm, you know, the local farm market and get the natural honey from that area. Yeah, and it works every time. Yes.
We went to a lecture about a beekeeper because we wanted to know what the very best kind of honey was. And then I walked up to him personally because I didn't want him to interrupt him. And he told me about a certain kind of honey that comes from Australia.
Manuka?
Yes.
Right, Manuka honey. Yeah. Super helpful.
And that is the best inflammatory honey you'll ever eat. But I thought he was going to tell me something from the regular grocery store, the clover kind, or I just wanted a name of a local one.
Yeah, no, you can actually find that. You can get anything on Amazon. You can get
Right,
that.
that's in Trader Joe's, the Manuka. But if you had to recommend, say I wanted just one of the local honeys, what would you say? Clover, any of them, right?
Yeah, no, any as long as it's local. I'm, you know, even though I'm not from this area, I would get something. If I'm living here, I would get a local honey, right? And I used to be a former activities director at a retirement community, and I brought in a beekeeper as well, and that's just an amazing thing. And one thing the beekeeper said was, because I was doing, you know, my tea and chocolate programs there as well. She was saying, you know, when you do your tea programs, make sure you tell people, even if you're using raw honey, the water can't be too hot, or it will kill off the natural anti-inflammatory properties because it's too hot. Because then that would be like pasteurized honey, right? When they heat it, right?
Yes.
And I never thought of that. I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So if you have a hot cup of water and put honey in it, you're defeating your purpose?
Yeah, and you have to make it, you know, make sure that the temperature is lowered, you know.
So you can't put it in
Yeah.
your tea.
You could, but I mean, you could put it in your tea, but if the water is too hot, it will be like pasteurized honey. I thought that was interesting.
Like the tea steam.
Yeah.
Cool down.
Right, cool down, then add your honey. Okay, I'm gonna pass out a little bit, since we're coming to our mighty coconut. Now, there have been a lot of news reports recently that, coconut isn't as healthy as we once thought because it has a saturated fat, but a lot of people tend to disagree because a lot of times, even though people might have higher cholesterol, it isn't normally, and I'm quoting an article that I read by a doctor that said it's not all the time linked with heart attack in all people. Like you could have high cholesterol, maybe you metabolize things differently, but eaten in normal quantities, the mighty coconut has been shown to help with brain function, and even they've done studies with Alzheimer's disease. And because of this MCT, this medium chain triglyceride, that's very good for your energy, for your body, and it's used to kill bacteria as well, and it boosts your metabolism. So here's one way to eat it. Like if you're hungry and you don't want candy, or you shouldn't eat candy, let's put it that way. We want less sugar in our diet, right? Here is just a dried piece of coconut, and it's nice because it's chewy. It's not that flaked, coconut that tastes like cardboard. So this is big pieces of cardboard. So and you can nibble on.
Thank you.
So I think it's neat because I like chewy. So it's something that satiates. It's got, and then the natural oil, will satiate you and keep you full. Okay, so where were we? So adaptogens, okay? Does anybody know about adaptogens at all? No? Okay, so this is a very interesting thing. You can look at this too when you come up, but adaptogens, all right? What is an adaptogen? An adaptogen is a botanical that helps our body not only adapt to stress, but also has benefits above and beyond. It helps to regulate our immune system, and a lot of the older ancient cultures figured this out. The Indian culture, the Chinese culture, Korea, and even Russia. To pass as an adaptogen, a plant must pass 3 tests. So first, number 1, the plant has to be safe and non-toxic, so that can put your mind at ease. And then also it has to have broad benefits for both your body and your mind. So help with anxiety, help to regulate your immune system, and help with a wide range of physical and emotional issues. So physical and emotional. So rhodiola is one. Okay, you might have seen that. Sometimes it's paired with vitamin C, rhodiola. It's from Siberia. It's been used for thousands of years to boost stamina, performance, and increase circulation. And the Alaskan Inuits use this as medicine and food. And the Vikings used it for physical endurance. And then how about ashwagandha? You've probably heard about that one. Ashwagandha, it's an Indian herb. It's mostly used in Ayurvedic medicine. It's high in iron. It's considered a very calming adaptogen, a calming botanical. And a lot of people use it to help with anxiety and sleep, and it sort of helps with your mood as well. But a lot of these, see this says avoid during pregnancy. You have to be very careful if you're trying to conceive. Even my aromatherapy program, you can't be fooling with anything when you're either pregnant or trying to conceive. It's very important. Reishi mushroom. Have you heard of that? Okay, reishi mushroom is like a very well-known mushroom, very healing. It's called spirit plant in Chinese. It lowers your cholesterol. It's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. This is interesting. In the United States, it's commonly found growing on oak trees. Isn't that neat? And reishi, it can be found in a lot of different products, such as, where are we here? There it is. The Republic of Tea. You know that company, Republic of Tea? So they are have very transparent practices. They bring a lot of beautiful teas to the market and healing medicinal teas. And this is in one of their categories called Super Herb Tea. And this is called reishi cocoa tea. It's delicious. I love it. So it has the cacao or the cocoa powder in it. It has dandelion root, which cleans your liver. Okay, and it's good that it's combined with something. Otherwise, it tastes like dirt, basically. Dandelion tea. I have to combine it with something. But it's a #1 liver detoxifier, and the reishi mushroom is in here. So it's number one being a mushroom. There's a way you can get your mushrooms into your diet. You can drink it, see? And then there's Siberian ginseng. Maybe you've heard of that. That is an adaptogen. It helps with stamina, lowers your LDL, bad cholesterol. So you can come and look at this also. And holy basil, who's heard of that? Tulsi tea, holy basil tea.
I was wondering what that was, the Tulsi
That-
tea. So,
Yes, that's very good for you. Tulsi tea is the holy basil tea. It means incomparable one in Indian Ayurvedic medicine. It's powerful for anti-inflammatories, to induce sleep, for anxiety, and a stress reliever. So, they help the body and the mind. And they're from plants that are non-toxic. So you can research that and see what you think. Okay? And so here we are at talking a little bit about teas. And I bring these to my tea programs, but just to let you know, this is another great way to get superfoods into your diet by drinking these healthful things. So for instance, elderberry. Who takes elderberry syrup during the winter if you feel sick? Anybody? No? Okay, so I have to keep taking these on and off. So elderberry eases inflammation, alleviates the cold and flu, cleanses your blood, and clears your sinuses, okay? Known to, all right? Elderberry's been around for a long time, and a lot of naturopathic doctors sort of prescribe the elderberry syrup. You can get that in any store, actually.
I take it these are all loose teas.
No, this is not a loose tea, these are bag teas.
Oh.
Yeah, which is great. Elderflower, this is one of the oldest herbs cultivated by man. Don't worry about it. It helps with asthma, allergies, strengthens your immune system, and is good for your liver, clearing out your liver. So you think just if you live, and breathe, you're breathing all these toxins in, your liver's storing all these things that we're breathing in, all the chemicals we don't even know we're, exposed to. So clearing your liver and flushing your liver is very important. And if you don't like some of these flavors, as I don't really love dandelion tea, but I combine it with like a berry herb tea, and it fixes everything. So we said reishi cocoa. This is goji berry, which we're going to try in a minute. Goji berry green tea. This is delicious. And we talked about this is, anti-inflammatory, and it's supposed to be very good for anti-aging as well, or I think that,
Are all the teas anti-inflammatory?
Yeah, well, they're phytochemicals, so they're very good for you. Yeah, very good for your body. Where's that last one I'm looking for? Oh, dandelion. Okay, tastes like dirt. Who's Italian that used to eat the dandelion greens?
I'm not Italian, but I've had it.
Super healthy for you.
I had neighbors
Okay.
that used to ask if they could come over on the lawn.
Right
and
before
give them
everybody's
up.
sprayed, right?
They were from the old country.
We had that for Easter all the time. And my grandmother, used to go out and super healthy dandelion tea. Dandelion greens are great for you. Like mustard greens. They are detoxifying for the liver. So again, these are all Republic of Tea teas. I would suggest if you don't know about them to Google them and get their catalog. And matcha tea. Who drinks or uses matcha? I knew I was going to say, do you put it in your smoothie?
Yes, I
You're
do.
on it. You're on it, sister. All right. So matcha tea. Okay. This is concentrated green tea. Powdered green tea. So you can come up, you can unscrew the lid, look at it. If you're not into green tea to drink, 5 to 10 cups a day, if you don't have that kind of time, or you don't like the flavor, some people feel it's very grassy flavor, you can take matcha, which is highly concentrated, and put a teaspoon or two into your smoothie, into your cereal, into your baking, into anything. And it's super healthy for you. Okay, green tea has, a myriad of healthy benefits. So that would be one way to incorporate this into your diet, the matcha. Don't you love this? This is the rule. Eat the green thing, not the white thing. That's it. Goodbye, thank you. No. And this is a little bit about matcha, how they perform it in the ceremony, the Japanese ceremony. So that's been around since time immemorial with the Buddhist monks and the Japanese Buddhist monks. These are just the health benefits of cacao, as we talked about. It's good for your vision, and you can read that because we've gone over that. So let's pass this out. These are the goji berries, okay? Oops, let me get you another spoon. These are dried goji berries from my natural food store. They're supposed to be anti-aging, very healthful, high in vitamin C. The Chinese are big goji berry fans. Does anybody drink rose hip tea? That's very, very healthful. That's the rose hips are in a lot of teas. They're even in the lemon zinger teas and hibiscus teas. Rose hips are loaded with vitamin C, and they're known to be an anti-aging berry, and they're very good for your skin and complexion. So if you have issues with your complexion, you should try some rose hip tea. So what do you think of those goji berries? They're good. They're neutral, right? They're a little neutral. So you can look at these later, but we've gone over a lot of what you can incorporate into your diet. So, quinoa, right? You know about quinoa. That's on all the menus now. It seems like even restaurants have quinoa for side dishes and whatnot. Well, this is very good for you. It's a protein. And I don't know if you know, but you should always rinse quinoa, okay? It has natural bug repellent basically in the seed, so you have to rinse it to get that off, or else it will taste funny. But this is very good for you, high in protein. So this is another thing if you want to reduce your meat consumption. If you're into eating a little more healthy, you can include this into your diet.
Is it a complete protein?
Yes, very good. Quinoa is excellent for you. So the grains, the different grains, you've probably had like quinoa, but there's teff from Ethiopia. These are ancient grains. The Ethiopian runners eat that before races, so it gives you, right, that's right, high source of energy. And brown rice, obviously these are simple, carbohydrates that are very healthy for you. High in vitamin B, okay, good for your hair and your nails. Mushrooms we talked about since the ancient times, people have been eating mushrooms. And the cordyceps mushroom, you may have heard of that. That's a very potent anti-inflammatory. So some of the teas, they have cordyceps tea. And in this little smoothie bar in Wallingford, they'll put shots of these different things and, to sort of give your smoothie a boost. And beans, protein, lentils, chickpeas, and kidney beans. And of course, the beans are part of the G-bomb, right? So Dr. Furman believes in that. Salmon, wild caught, right? Farm-raised fish is not hot. Now, isn't that crazy? First they tell us only buy farm-raised, then we buy farm-raised, then we find out that the farm-raised fish is polluted. So wild Atlantic salmon, fresh caught.
Or they can't be okay too.
What's that? Yeah, if it's wild salmon. Yes, if it's wild canned, if you can't get fresh, then yes, it's wild. Asparagus, very excellent for you. The Romans used asparagus as medicine to keep, the doctor away. High in vitamin C and K. The nuts we talked about, almonds in our cacao bowls that we're going to try in a second. And almonds lower your LDL. Brazil nuts are very good for you as well. Walnuts. And Brazil nuts are very high in selenium, and that relates to breast health for women. So selenium goes hand in hand with that. Avocados, super healthy fat. You don't like avocado?
I can try to.
You can incorporate it into your smoothie, believe it or not. I know, we go back to, but you can, right? I bake with it. You can bake with it. There's actually a brownie recipe you can use because it's so creamy and it's neutral. It's neutral. So, and that's very high in the antioxidant lutein. So these are, we're just repeating the same thing. Antioxidants, anti-inflammatory, phytochemicals. We talked about our healthy plant foods, strawberries and other berries. That's part of the G-bombs. And then onions, part of the G-bombs as well. Okay, so I'm going to go get the cacao balls because I just can go on forever, you can tell, right? You can tell? So I'm going to pass these out. These are the goji berries you have, but they have dark chocolate, so these will be so much better. You probably know about fermented foods, but I'll just, I'm just passing along these things that, you can make your own decision. But fermented foods, sauerkrauts. A lot of people are into the kefir now. Sauerkraut's was eaten in Roman times to keep your your gut microbiome where everything gets regulated healthy. India, they enjoy lassis or, fermented yogurts. Bulgaria, they drank fermented milk and the kefir. In Ukraine, they're big into the sauerkraut and even buttermilk as well. And then the Asians, you probably had kimchi, right? The cabbage, fermented cabbage. So this all keeps your gut healthy. And as we're learning and reading and people are writing these books about, this is where it all takes place, right here. You keep your gut healthy. This regulates your body, and so you eat health, and this is the filter where it, you take in all the healthy foods and it will regulate your body.
Now, how come you
those
didn't mention
probiotics.
olives and pickles?
What do you think
They're all
of
fermented.
Pickles are fermented as well, but are not fermented. They are just cured in like a brine. So that's not fermented. That's fermentation is sitting and creating like almost like a yeast.
How about olives?
Olives, no, that's brined. That's brined.
She meant probiotics.
But olives are excellent for you. So if you eat just, you're getting the natural, that's like natural olive oil. If you bite into a Greek olive, you're getting the natural olive oil. So that's very good for you.
But are you talking plain olives or the ones that are the nice and vinegary ones?
Well, vinegar's healthy for you, but it's not fermented. So kimchi, like when years, before it came to America, they used to take the kimchi, the cabbage, and they used to bury it in a pot, in a clay pot in the ground. So it would get like, it was porous too, the clay pot. So you get a little bit of this and that in there. But, a lot of people believe we use the antibacterial wipes. It's too much. We don't have enough like dirt in our diet, So, I mean, that there are two, ways of thinking about that. And one is, the fermented foods, are very healthy for your gut. So if you can tolerate it. Some people believe in bone broth. And that basically is just what our mothers made, stock from bones, the gelatin in the beef bones and the chicken bones. But the difference is today they're saying bone broth with organic or grass-fed animals, so again what the animals are eating, and then that's healthy and very very good for you. Obviously it's high in gelatins, so it's good for your hair, your nails, and to just overall have good health. There's the Bone Broth Diet. That's a good book to look at to see if you're interested in that. All right, we're gonna pass out these cacao balls. So, like I was saying, if you have a sweet tooth and you wanna get away from sugar and junk foods and packaged junk foods, you can try these. Okay, so here's a recipe. They're back on that table. You make it in you can do it in a little mini food processor. You just pulse it. And I keep these in, sometimes you can freeze them, and they're just a nice texture. I like them. They're not super sugary, but you'll see what you think. They're made with dates, okay? So that's the natural sugar of the date, the cacao, there's some almond butter. So these are satiating too. The almond butter will keep you full. Almonds are good for you. Coconut oil is good for you, and it's a small amount of coconut oil. So we'll see what you think, okay? So this is an interesting flavor. You may or may not like it, but I'm just trying to get you to try different things that you can. No, it's almond. And almonds, ground almonds, and then pumpkin seed. So that has seeds in it, so we have a little G-bomb going on here. The cacao. Frozen, they're nice because they take you, you can make them larger, and it's like a nice little treat for you, and maybe you can get used to getting away from sugar, So we are going to have our tea, which is the pomegranate tea with green tea. I'm going to pass it out right now so we can let you go soon. I'll just go on forever, sorry. I just find it fascinating, that this is just right in front of us, very helpful, and even if you start incorporating a few of these things at a time, you can change your diet. So this is the goji berry, high in phytochemicals. They all are. Kale, another berry, raspberry. Acai, this is what this looks like. The smoothie you had? It's that very dark color, the anthocyanins, things that color these berries are good for us. So just like the carotenoids in the carrots, right? Anything dark and rich is good for you. So wolfberries, cherries, very good for heart disease. The cherry juice is very good for heart health too.
Are pink cherries in that group?
They say it's sour cherry, but cherries in general are healthy.
I know,
You know,
because
they're
I buy
good for
big
you,
cherries
but-
thinking you're helping yourself.
Yeah,
But
but
then you
sour,
always see the picture of the red cherry.
yes, the sour cherry, that's supposedly good for your heart health as well. Yeah, and of course, the superfood just goes above and beyond trying to give us the benefit. All right, I am going to take any other questions. I'm going to read one thing for you, and then I'm going to have you come up here if you would like to try this pomegranate tea. I have it, it's pomegranate green tea, and then I added the Palm Wonderful juice to it, the pomegranate juice. And then if you'd like a spritzer with it, we'll add some seltzer just to have tea a different way. All right, ready? I have 2 questions to ask. Let's see if you're paying attention. This nut dates back to 7000 BC. It was introduced to California by the Franciscan fathers in the 1700s. They were thought to be a headache remedy because they looked like the brain. What nut is it?
Walnut.
Right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
This fruit is loaded with antioxidants, it's creamy and known for its good fats. The Aztecs, this is true. Listen to this is funny. The Aztecs harvested the avocados, which grow in pairs, and used to keep the virgins inside for fear when they were gathering the avocados and harvesting the avocados. Isn't that crazy? And last one, this is known as a love apple in the 1600s, high in lycopene we talked about, has a scarlet color and extremely healthy and full of antioxidants. Does anybody know what a love apple is?
Delicious.
Tomato.
Oh.
That's right, that's right. Yep, okay. All right, here's my poem and then we'll have something to drink. Ready? Indulge me, here we go. This is my superfood poem. I am the keeper of my temple, my sacred tour de force. I stoke my inner heart with superfoods, of course. I ponder nature's bounty as I sip on my super tea, powered with reishi mushrooms, boosting my energy. I sweeten with nature's candy, raw honey, figs, and dates, and remember to add some ancient grains upon my dinner plate. Even Cleopatra dined on Tamu, an Egyptian grainy fare. It's hearsay though, just to tell you I really wasn't there. Leave room for legumes. Have you heard? Beans, they're good for your heart. The more fiber you eat, the better you'll feel. So consume legumes at every meal. And the Aztecs revered Theobroma cacao. They knew that mighty being was great, just as we do now. Power berries boost our immunity. Acai bursts with vitamin C, and goji berry aids our longevity. So sprinkle super seeds and nuts, drizzle oil of avocado and coconut. If we nourish our bodies, they will repay us in kind. Superfoods are nature's gift to heal our bodies and our mind. Thank you for coming. Come on up and get some tea.